Start one, bench one, drop one. Marcus Rashford, Omari Foson, and Amad Diallo. Welcome to the United Hotspot. My name is Webb. Here are some of my key lessons learned from that home beating against Fulham. Guys, we can sit here and pretend like we are heading somewhere, or we can be real about certain facts and facts involving our coach, but also players who have been given chances and opportunities and those who haven't been. Honestly, looking at that game, there are many things I look back at, and as I'm saying, honestly, if I were Sir Jim Ratcliffe, first of all, I wouldn't feel like this team is progressing in any way. And forget the excuses, forget the lack of the injury. There's so many injuries we've had. Forget everything. It is for me the template, the players and the way they move, the way they play, the way they apply themselves, the statements made by Eric Ten Hag, who after the game comes out and says we showed big personality. Big personality. That was big personality against Fulham at home. They beat us by 2 goals to 1, dominating, having the clearer chances. We just survived the humiliation. And as the manager in your press conference, you come out and say we showed big personality. And you think that manager is taking us anywhere? Honestly, for me, I don't believe in Eric Ten Hag anymore. And I wouldn't be surprised if Sir Jim Ratcliffe fired him at the end of the season. But let me get to the players, because many will say we cannot keep blaming the managers. At what point are we going to blame the players? Honestly, in football, unless you're new to the game, the manager will always take the first blame because he's the one who selects the players. But more so, if the manager has got no defined and convincing playing style, you cannot blame the players for the lack of playing style. Blame them for failing to execute it, but not for their for the lack of it. What are they going to execute? So for me, anyway, let's go to the players, because it's the manager who chooses to select Foson ahead of Amad Diallo, who chooses to keep selecting Marcus Rashford ahead of Amad Diallo. It is the manager, and I'm putting it to you now. Start one, bench one, and sell one in the summer. For me, honestly, looking at this Man United and judging just by those few minutes, because Ahmad will not really get a lot of minutes anyway. It's clear now that even with our best striker sick and we've got no option on the bench, Eric Ten Hag would rather gamble with Omar Foson, a boy who has never stepped foot on a senior game, who has just been coming off the bench and making a few negligible cameos, instead of an Ahmad who has scored in the Europa League, an Ahmad who has played and scored goals in the Championship. Well, that's the manager. You're sitting here and believing and hoping that he can change things around. Well, not me anymore, honestly, not me. Even if we finished among the top 4, I'm still thinking Eric Ten Hag should go. But for me, I think Marcus Rashford is not good enough. Marcus Rashford should leave in the summer. So he's the one I would sell if it were up to me. Sell Marcus Rashford for 80 million, if you can even still attract that. For the most you can get out of him. Hope that you can get 80, 90, or 100. Rashford goes for me. Omari Foson is not good enough. Eric Ten Hag is always trying to overthink football. For whichever reason, always trying, always trying. But the thought of him putting Omar Foson ahead of Amad Diallo will never sit well with me. I will never understand it unless he comes out publicly and says that, like Jadon Sancho, he had issues with him. But if he has issues with him, he shouldn't be stepping foot on the pitch, not even the bench. Because if you have issues with me, why are you even putting me there on the bench? Eventually, he introduces him. So the issue is not, and he says he trains well, he performs well during training. So why doesn't he give him the chance when it's glaring now that it should be him taking it? Omari Foson was so shy. He was not confident. I saw one point he was hitting the ball into the face of Kobe Maino. I think Maino was even mad and annoyed. That's why he was eventually forced to be substituted off, because he was not in the mood for the game. Honestly, Ten Hag and his way of thinking is funny, because this boy keeps proving. He came on for a few minutes, Amad Diallo, and honestly, I thought he put on a better shift than Marcus Rashford put throughout the whole game. He put on way better a shift than Omar Fossod for the half and so also minutes he was on. And he still, you will see that Eric Ten Hag will still choose to bench him, keep him rotting on the bench in the next game, and perhaps still give a chance to Foson. And you're thinking, What did Amad Diallo do to him? For me, those are things you won't blame the players for. You can't put that as a player's blame. People are telling me, at what point are we going to call out the players? I do that every day. Every day. I don't think anyone blames players more than I do personally. I think we've all been, honestly, in all fairness, we've all been blaming these players all season. But we've got to blame the manager because he's the one who trains them. That's why he's paid 9 million. What is it? 9 million per year to train them what to do. But also he selects them. And you see, if he has played all his cards and you're thinking it's not working, we would say so. But how does he even play the cards? Bogusly, for lack of a better word. So for me, Eric Ten Hag has clearly, and you see, the statements he makes in press conferences are not doing him any favors. Harry Maguire comes out and says we did not do enough. Eric Ten Hag is saying we showed character and personality. And you see, you can be a manager who looks to defend your players, but you've got to defend them without selling yourself. What he did there was selling himself. That statement alone, if Sir Jim and Ineos sit back and listen to the post-match interview of Eric Ten Hag, they will sack him probably before the summer. Because you don't come, we lose 2-1 to Fulham in the manner we lost, and you say we showed big character and big personality. Is that Man United? Does he think this is Ajax? Does he think this is Utrecht? Really? Against Fulham, and you say that's personality, character, big character against a mid-table team for Man United as we chase the top four? What's that? What on earth is that? He should be embarrassed in himself and his statements. He should be disappointed in himself first before even being disappointed in the Marcus Rashfords of this world. So for me, I will start Amad Diallo, bench Omar Foson because he's a young player. Give him a chance. Of course, he has not really grown. He can grow and improve. Certainly, he has got the basics to improve. And sell Marcus Rashford. That is what a top gaffer would do under the circumstances we are in as Manchester United. But Eric keeps playing Rashford, keeps playing Foson, and tortures Amad Diallo. For what reason? Me and you would never guess. There is no way we would guess. I can't guess it, honestly. I can't tell why. But Amad has proven himself. You saw the few touches when he came on, he was a threat. Give him more minutes. Honestly, he would have forced them into an error. He would have calmed the game. He would have kept them there. He made the right wing look a little busier. That's what he does. That's what a good player does. But you start with Foson on the left, then he's supposed to be dynamic with Garnacho and Rashford. He's not anywhere close to their pace. I saw at some point he was colliding with Rashford in the number 9. Then I think Rashford had to tell him to go push wide. He was a bit confused on what to do. Come on. And probably Eric Ten Hag's selections and methods even makes the would-be decent players also drop in their performances. I honestly think that we've not seen the best of Kobe because of how Eric Ten Hag keeps misusing him. For me, that's my honest opinion. But that's the manager. You're sitting here and backing and saying, when shall we blame the players? We've blamed the players enough. When shall we blame Eric Ten Hag? Should we be afraid of being so because we've sacked so many managers, and we've bought so many players? Yes, just like we've sacked so many managers, we've bought more players than managers, no? So when shall we blame a manager who is not even giving us any progress in anything? Sack him.